Artsy Solutions, and welcome to the August Makers Creative Collab hop. And this theme is Eclectic Evolution. This hop is a group of us ladies from, it's hosted by PM Artist Studios for makers of mixed media art and artists. And there's a group of us YouTubers and a group of us non-YouTubers. So make sure you go over there and check them out, and so you can continue to see what we all made for August. So my take on Eclectic Evolution is basically kind of seeing the world through, or not really seeing, it's a woman's perspective, and it's in the evolution of where women came from and the rights that we've had since then. So basically, okay, so I made like a little tab right here, and this is just from the Dollar Tree, and it's just some paper, and I use different types of scraps of scrapbook paper on here. And so for this image right here, this came from a stencil that I got from KRolinaGibson, and so I stenciled her. I used the stencil on the jelly press, and then I created these little glasses in Photoshop. And basically what I did for the glasses is I put like the world, it's like the world through the glasses, and she can see it through her eyes, and that's her perspective. And then I used this stencil, this hat was made from a stencil that I got from Bakers and Crafters on the Sweets By Thelisha from her shop. And I'll have a link in the description where I got all this stuff from. And then this right here is some Stamperia rice paper. This is Stamperia rice paper. And then this is just Stamperia clockwise. It came from the paper line. And then for her eyes, this was the jelly plated or jelly print. I just colored it in with some paint and some ink pens and just kind of made it pop. And I'll have a TikTok video link below if you're interested in how I did that. And then for her mouth, I just took a red ink pen and added some glossy accents over top to give it like a little shine. And I just put some like a little gem on here. And I just stitched on some fabric just to kind of make it look like she had on like a cloak or something, some type of clothing. Okay, so that's the first page. So we're going to open it up, and we have a pop-up. And the pop-up, I used the stencil, the Mandala stencil from PM Artist Studio. And I'll have a TikTok video link on how I made that too, and you can see it on both sides. And I got the pop-up idea from Barbara from 49 Dragonflies, and I'll have a link in the description of where that video came from, where I learned how to do that. So to start off, this is kind of like a story, and starting with Abigail Adams. It says, once upon a time in this great land, one was restricted if they were not a man. And it, like I said, it's the woman's perspective. And this is just like a little figure of Abigail Adams. And this is my first time doing these, what do you call these, paper dolls. I've never done one before, so I just got her, I got some magazine images and some printed out images and just kind of put them together, and her little arm moves. And she's made up of, like, it's supposed to be like a letter that she wrote to her husband saying, remember the ladies. Because if you remember during the Revolutionary War, when they were trying to get independence, you know, that was Enlightenment, which was like the late 17th and 18th century intellectual movement emphasizing reason, individualism, and skepticism. But a lot of that was beneficial for the men, you know, and the women didn't necessarily get to have all those same benefits and freedoms that the men had at that time. So we have this little, there's a pocket right here and a pocket behind this man. It's like a belly band, kind of. And he's just a little Tim Holtz, what do you call those little things? You know what I mean? It's Tim Holtz. Not the man, but it comes from Tim Holtz paper line. And you have a pocket there, and then I just have like a photo of the, what's it called, the Peacefield Quincy home back in the day, where Abigail Adams and them, I guess, used to stay. And then it flips over. And then we have Maybelle Ping Hua Lee. And she was an activist. All these ladies in here were activists, philanthropists, and stuff like that. And so I made her paper doll. These swivel, her arms swivel out. And I got her legs and body and stuff like that from vintage magazines. I cut some of them out and then just kind of pieced them together. And then I added one of those Tim Holtz butterflies behind her. And I added a some bling right there, little stickers from Dollar Tree. And then for her skirt, I added some cheesecloth, and I stitched on this muslin. And actually, this was a piece of an old napkin, fabric napkin, and I stitched those together and stitched it on to her. And then just added like a little, it's like a little thing, a little flip to where she can stick down in here. So, and for hers, let's see, with a collaborative plan for futuristic rights laid, she helped lead 10,000 protesters in the 1912 New York suffrage parade. So I tried to make it rhyme. And so I have this like a little pocket, and it said that she had led it on a horse, so that's why I put this horse there. And it's an eclectic kind of look, yeah. And then these are supposed to be like little protesters, and basically those are just little figures, silhouette figures I placed together and Photoshop and just cut them out to make it look like they were protesters in the parade. And then you come over here and you've got Madame C.J. Walker, and she was also, her birth name was Sarah Breedlove. And for her, she was an entrepreneur. She started her own hair care line. But during her era, you had to have a male relative to co-sign for a business loan. So you can imagine what she had to go through, her and other ladies of her time, the obstacles they had to go through just to get a business loan. And so here's the coffee filter I used right here. And I just added some Tim Holtz flour and what her container looks like that she made. And then this is one of those stenciled hats that I made. This comes from Thelisha's Stencils on Word Baking and Crafting Meet. And I'll have a TikTok video on how I did that too, I think. And then I just added some stickers on here for her hair. And then I just colored in her lips with the red marker. And yeah, and it's like a little, she has like a little tuck spot and a journal spot or whatever. And then for part of this story, it says, she didn't let obstacles get in the way of her philanthropic and entrepreneurial fates, considering the women's business ownership law didn't come into effect until 1988. So can you imagine, 1988, that's when women could finally get their own loans without a male co-signer. Like 1988. But yeah, so that's that one. But we've made progress. We've come a long way. So, and then I just got this little, it's a teacup. And it's kind of eclectic to have like a flower growing out of a teacup, but still. and the flower representing growth and progress. So, and then for the man, this is like a little, what do you call it, those little bifocal, like glass things, magnifying glass type thing. And then the mustache. These also come from Thelisha's We're Baking and Crafting Meet, from one of her stencils. And then the man comes from one of my digitals. And then I took a hat from a magazine. So we'll go on over to the next one. And this one is, it's Ditkalasa. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Also known as Redbird. And she was also known as Gertrude Simmons Bonin. But her birth name was Zitkalasa. And she was a writer, she was a musician, she was a lot of things. Philanthropist, she was a political activist. And she, just like other women, wanted people to vote. And it says, it is remarkable to see the passion in a person when a suffrage has begun. To join forces to protect rights like she did by joining the General Federation of Women's Club in 1921. And then I put over here gender lines, because it was, you know, females just didn't have the same rights as men. But this is kind of an eclectic scenery right here, simply because his time versus her times were different eras, slightly different eras. But they both liked music, and on her, she played the violin. And even though I know that this isn't a violin, it's a guitar, but I liked it. I like the color of it. And you can see the what do you call that, the bow or whatever for the violin. And her arm swivels up and down. And I just took these from a magazine. It looks like she's sitting on a chair, kind of, you know. And she wrote several books. And then here's just some of the books that she wrote. And with James Brown, I put him in there because I just thought it kind of fit with the theme. Some of the lyrics to one of his songs he had sang was, "This is a man's world, this is a man's world, but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl." So I just so happened, I thought about the lyrics to his song first, and then as I was flipping through magazines, I saw his picture, and I was like, well, I'll just go ahead and add that in there too. And then I just put this vintage record player in here as well. And this was also a stencil from Thelisha, from We're Baking and Crafting Meet. And I stenciled it twice with black and then gray. And then I cut out the gray and put it over top of the black to make it look more pronounced. But it's like a vintage record player. And yeah, so Kalasa, she wrote the libretto for the Sundance Opera. And so I just wanted to, those are just some of the things that she did. She did a lot of things. All these ladies did many things. Okay, and last but not least, this is Hovita Idar, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. And she, just like other women, wanted rights and stuff. And she worked for her father's newspaper, the La Cronica. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, I don't know. And she wrote about a lot of injustices that were going on at the time. So this story, it brings it to the future. It says, by writing articles about the current injustices of the time, Hovita fought for things she didn't get to see, so that a person like myself is free to be me. So because of people like her, I can do what I like. You know, I'm free to be me. I'm free to make art. I'm free to collaborate. I'm free to do what I want to do, pretty much. Start my own business. You know, vote. I can do all kinds of things now that all these ladies, some of these ladies may or may not have gotten to do. But yeah, this is my version of Eclectic Evolution. So, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos and social media sites. And make sure that you check out the rest of the people in the hop, and I'll have a card on the side so you can just click on it and check out the rest of the group. And I hope you enjoyed this, and thanks for watching.